Hey everybody, welcome to the latest episode of the Rock and Roll Experience with Mike Brunn. In this episode, I welcome back Vincent LaRussa, and we rank our top 10 Kiss deep cuts. Now we put certain parameters in place, and I ended up making a very controversial number one selection, so I'd like to hear what you Kiss fans think about this. Also, we'd certainly like to see your top 10 deep cuts based on the parameters that we put in place. So we look forward to seeing that. Hit that subscribe button below on my YouTube channel and head over to Facebook and follow my page, The Rock and Roll Experience with Mike Brunn, where each and every day we talk about all the rock and roll music that you love. Now, without further ado, let's get started with this episode. Alright, hey everybody, welcome to the latest episode of The Rock and Roll Experience with Mike Brunn. Today, I'm really excited to welcome back my guest, my partner in crime, Mr. Vincent LaRussa. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good.
Yeah.
Or should I say, for better grammar, doing well.
Doing well. There you go. Obviously, right now, we're in, I'll say, quarantine mode. So we're both stuck in our houses, me on Long Island, you in Staten Island. Everything's okay on your side, though?
Yeah, as best as we can have it right now, I guess. But,
I noticed you got a little bit of a growth going on there.
Yeah. It's my, like when hockey players are in the playoffs.
That's right.
Or baseball players, they start growing a beard.
That's right.
This is my quarantine beard. Even though I don't think I could ever do a full facial thing, but,
That's very good. Very good. I'm glad to see the lab hat coming through.
Yeah.
So before we even jump in, I'm noticing behind you, over your shoulder, a new record that's up there that I haven't seen before. What is that?
Oh.
I know this is something nobody else cares about but me, but
This is the Climax Blues Band.
Ooh.
And it's a live album. And this was recorded, and you'll find this interesting.
Go ahead.
At the Academy of Music in New York.
Oh, look at that. That Kiss connection I did not even expect to know.
Yeah.
Gee, it's almost like we planned that, but we didn't actually.
Yeah. So that is on my playlist. Being in this quarantine right now, I have been able to catch up to a lot of my vinyl backlog, which I bought. So that's been a good thing. But
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
well, with that backlog and with the time on our hands, we decided to go through and put together an episode of our top 10 Kiss deep cuts, right? But of course, in typical fashion for you and I, we can't make it easy for ourselves, right?
So no, not at all. Not at all.
I think when we first started chatting about this a couple of weeks ago, I put a list together, and half the songs that were on my list there, I've since crossed off because we determined, you and I, that they wouldn't qualify as deep cuts, right? So
correct.
Well, before we jump into our list, why don't we just discuss some of the parameters that we put in place for ourselves, right? Because I know there's Well, go ahead. What were you saying?
I was just saying, I like to call them parameters, just so you know.
So we'll call them parameters if you like. Okay. So let's talk some of the parameters then that we put in place here, right? We'll start with some of the simple ones, right? If it's on a greatest hits album, it doesn't qualify, right? So greatest hits, such as double platinum, or as we like to say, double platinum, smashes, thrashes, and hits, those albums instantly doesn't count, right? We said if it's a single, a 45, release like that, especially in the United States, right? We're not going to look across every country around the world, and if a single is released in one country, only, that fine, that's okay. But if it's a single anywhere around the world, pretty much, especially in the U.S., it doesn't count. So I know for me, this instantly disqualified songs like Tomorrow, which was actually my number one song on my list originally, but most people don't realize it's a failed single in the United States, right? So we crossed it off, and I cried when I had to do that, but we crossed it off, right? We said if it was a video, an MTV video, crossed it off the list. So again, songs like Turn on the Night, goddamn, another song that was on the list, All Hell's Breaking Loose, Who Wants to Be Lonely, right? All these songs were singles. They were videos, off the list. Doesn't count, right? We said we were going to exclude all the songs from the 78 solo albums, right? So even though they have the Kiss logo on it, we said 78 solo album songs, not included. So Wouldn't You Like to Know Me, What's on Your Mind, I Can't Stop the Rain, Take Me Away, Together as One, all the songs that I was considering. I said, cross off. Like, God damn. Soon I'm going to be left at nothing but Boomerang, but that's okay. or You Wanted the Best. You wanted the best.
Which they gave us the worst.
Right, exactly.
Sorry for those people who like that song, but
cheap. song. We said if it was on a live album, we would exclude it. So a song like Ladies Room was excluded. I Stole Your Love, excluded. We also said if it was songs that were on the 96 album, You Wanted the Best, which by the way went gold, right? So it's that album that sold well. But songs like Two Timer, Take Me, Let Me Know, crossed off every one of them. Like, God damn, those again, songs that were on my original list 2-3 weeks ago when we started talking about this.
Yeah.
The ones that pained me, we said if it was on MTV Unplugged, cross them off the list. God damn, Coming Home is probably my favorite song for the last 30 years, right?
Yeah.
Off the list. Like, God damn it. Going Blind, off the list. We said if they constantly play it during Unplugged segments, off the list. So something like Love Her All I Can, bye-bye, not on the list, right? So pretty much as you see, we're eliminating half the catalog here. If they frequently play a song live, War Machine, or even in the 80s if they frequently played it, Young and Wasted, Gimme More, I'm forgetting, Under the Gun, No, 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 even a song like Hooligan, off the list. I know you were going to put Hooligan as your number one. You're laughing. I know you love that song. You're goddamn. And no, the no list for us, right? So, if it's played frequently at solo shows, so Ace Frehley constantly does songs like Strange Ways, Hard Times, they can't be included. The ones that pained, I think, you and I a little bit, Stanley did in 2006, A Million to One, and he did Magic Touch. I think, at least for me, Million to One would have maybe been a top 3 deep cut of mine, but we said, you know what? It went out to, the masses as part of a tour, one of his 2006 solo tour. We excluded it from the list. That pained me. Another one that pained me, if they performed it on TV to promote an album, God damn the oath. God damn. That was on my list. I think I just literally rattled off half the songs that were on my list that we said excluded. But what does this do? It makes it a little bit more challenging for us, right? And
yeah, because we're down to, 4 songs now we could use?
Yeah, I think so. I'm saying it's more challenging, but in a lot of ways it's easier because we just had to pick, right, the 10 songs that remained. Those are the top 10, right?
Right.
No, but I think to me it kind of took away the obvious choices because I think otherwise, and we haven't discussed our list beforehand, but I think otherwise we would have had very similar lists, which would probably have been very similar to a lot of other fans, right? So when we talked about greatest hits albums, we decided to exclude Killers. I guarantee you everybody out there somewhere on their list would have Nowhere to Run as one of their top 10 songs. I think originally it was like my number 1 and number 2. But we said, that's on a greatest hits package. It was released around the world, released in the United States in 2014 as part of that whole box thing that they put out. We decided to exclude it. So that's an awful lot of exclusions there. So before we jump into our lists, you felt comfortable with that, right, buddy?
Well, yeah, I felt comfortable with it because we did discuss it. I'm glad we did do that, even though we didn't share songs, but we made sure we were under the same rules. And what happened was, what started out as a small little rules list, it started to expand as we started really thinking about it and doing some of the research into it. But yeah, it's in some ways it did make it more challenging because there were some obvious choices in some of the songs you mentioned. So I think it was actually a good thing to do it this way.
Yeah. So like I said, I think my original top 10 deep cuts had like I Can't Stop the Rain, Turn on the Night, Tomorrow, The Oath, all songs I think that a lot of Kiss fans Nowhere to Run. I think many Kiss fans would have those on their list.
Yeah.
So by taking them off, we're kind of making it, I think, a little bit more challenging and a little less obvious. Now, Vin, you and I both know there's certain songs Kiss has done a handful of times in their career. When I say handful, I mean like 3 or 4 times. Right, so if somebody, let's say yourself, I don't know what's on your list, if you're so inclined to put like When Your Walls Come Down on your list, Ladies in Waiting, we know they performed those songs a couple of times. It's not about, hey, Kiss performed, I've had enough 3 times, you should have excluded it, right? It wasn't a staple on the tour. It wasn't a regular, they didn't play it for a full tour like, let's say, Young and Wasted or Give Me More. So therefore, we included those on the list. So I don't hear any fucking complaints from people afterwards.
Did he just drop the F-bomb?
I think so.
Is this a first?
I think it might be. I don't hear any complaints from people that says, Kiss performed that one time in 1983 when I was at this show. Okay, that's great. We're still going to include those kind of songs.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Brunt has officially gone controversial.
There you go. There you go.
Sweet Mike Brun is no longer
Sweet.
Sweet Mike Brun.
Very funny. Very funny. So with that in mind, why don't we jump into our list? And why don't you go first, buddy? Read through your list. Give us a little reasoning behind your choices. And then after we both go through our list, maybe we'll just give a little bit more conversation about the songs.
Okay. So I'm reading off the list to you. Okay. So. Yeah, my heart singer for that.
Coming in at number 10. Okay, sorry.
All right, so at number 10, I have a feeling you might roll your eyes on this one. I have "I'll Fight Hell to Hold You."
Okay.
Number 10. So, I'm not talking about the song.
No, go ahead, talk about it. I'll refrain from comments until after your list and after I give my list.
The only thing I wish with this song is that they would have dropped this song down a half step. I mean, on this album, and by this time Paul Stanley was singing very, very high. But I think the song would have, now, listening to it, years later, if it was a half step down, I think it would have been nice in a nice sweet spot. Because I think a lot of people on some of those Kiss records, those late 80s Kiss records, they found like Paul's voice was just maybe a little too, like a song like My Way or something like that, where he's really up there. But anyways, I've always been a fan of that song. Still think it's really strong. Number 9 is Rain off the Carnival of Souls album. I know we could touch upon that in a little bit. What is your opinion of that? I just love this because it is kind of like the anti-Kiss song. And I personally am a big fan of that record. Okay. I like it, something different from Paul. And his vocal style and his approach. At number 8, I have Mr. Speed, which to me is kind of like a little bit like Bang a Gong, his version, that whole verse. I know how Kiss always refers to songs they kind of stole from. I mean, maybe it's documented somewhere, but how that's not, a direct line to Bang a Gong,
Makes sense. Yeah.
Number 7 is a song I despised as a kid, but now as an adult, am I an adult?
Well, you don't act like one.
Yeah, exactly. I like a lot. I like it a lot because I love the drum groove. I love the bass, and I don't know. I just love the feel of the tune. It's almost human. Okay. So it's become one of my favorite tunes of this. Number 6, All American Man. From Alive 2. Again, I just think it's a great, rock and roll tune. Paul's vocals also, I know Mr. Bob, Grammy Award winning Kulick plays.
Yes, exactly. Maybe I'll superimpose a Grammy right over here. Yeah. Right over when you say the song, I'll just put a Grammy on the screen.
Or just put Bob's face on mine.
I mean, I love his contributions to the band, but that's still funny. Anyway.
At number 5, from the Animalize record, I've Had Enough. Just think this. I remember hearing this record for the first time when I was first getting back into Kiss. It was like the record, I didn't even know they had released it because I was kind of removed. And I put the record on, heard this, I was like, wow, this is pretty cool, And so I always loved the drums on it. This one might be a surprise to you. At number 4 is Dirty Livin'.
Wow.
Off the Dynasty. Now, I want to know who played bass on this record. I was trying to do some research because, I mean, the bass playing on this. I mean, I know it's kind of, it was, I think this was actually released as a 12-inch. I don't know if this really disqualifies the song.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that one. It is. There's a nice dance remix as I do the Bruce Kulick dance.
Bruce, if you're watching,
that's an interesting one. I'm gonna let it slide, but
Hey, I have a couple of substitutes, but I have that as my number 4. Just I love the feel, I love the vocal on this, it's just I don't know. I was getting down to it before. I'll be honest.
Okay.
At number 3, from the Creatures of the Night album, we have the song Danger. Okay. I just love
another one with Bob Kulick, I think.
Did he play on this one?
I think he played on that one.
Okay.
Yeah. This is like your top 10 Bob Kulick songs.
Yeah, it's looking like that. The drum groove on this is just awesome, Just love this song. At number 2, from The Elder, I know, and I actually asked you about this before we decided to do this. Is Odyssey.
Nice.
And I know that this is, and that's why I asked, do songs that kids didn't write count? And I remember that they didn't write this. I think it was Tony Roberts was the songwriter. I think
so. Yeah, Tony Powers, something like
Tony
that.
Powers. Tony Roberts, I think he's a comedian or an actor.
Okay.
Odyssey, I just love the song. I mean,
And I think technically that's a cover, but that's fine. Nobody knows the original version, probably except for Tony Powers, so that's fine.
Exactly. And then number 1 is from Carnival of Souls.
Sorry.
Is Hate. And that's my number 1.
Nice.
And, again, just quickly with Hate, the drum groove that Eric plays on that, and the feel, and just what an awesome song. That's my top 10.
So I'm glad we didn't discuss it beforehand. I think we only actually have 2 songs that overlap.
Now, do you want to know the ones that I took off the list?
Yeah, just
if I won't go through reasons.
Yeah. Just at least give us a couple more, because that Dirty Living one, I'm gonna have to think about that one.
Okay.
You might try to sneak one past me there.
Yeah. So on my top, I guess the 4 I took. I actually had 5, but then when I looked, I saw you had Exciter on one that wouldn't count, so I had that off.
Right.
King of the Mountain. Mainline. Mainline.
Thank you for the. I should have made you sing every one of them.
Yeah. Oh, please, you don't want that. Mainline, Room Service, and Torpedo Girl.
Oh, all fine choices. I think what I like about your list is that look, we grew up on Kiss in the '70s, yet most of your stuff, I'd have to do a count again. This is the first time I'm hearing the list, but I want to say at least more than half of it was from the '80s and beyond. Actually, so
there's only 3 songs from the '70s.
Right? Yeah, that's as you're reading it off. I was surprised because again, we're both big '70s guys, but I like it, and that's why I like that we put in all these rules, because it forced us to go deeper than we would otherwise, right? So
because I think when we were talking about this, you said something. You made a comment like, we're probably going to hardly pick any '80s songs because
right, exactly.
But yeah, when I thought about it, it's like, I don't know about that, So
right.
Yeah,
well, even just when you started with "I'll Fight Hell to Hold You," right? So that's a song that's not on my list. But I remember in the '80s, I did like that song a lot, and even I know recently I've been posting like some of my mixed tapes, and I think it's on a couple of those. And I remember that was the first song I heard from the album, besides the single "Crazy Nights," right? So, and I remember just really liking it. And I think you said it perfectly. I think some of the register he sings in is a little still like, but it's not My Way. It's not up there. And it's a good song. I'd like to hear that redone with maybe better production. Paul maybe taking it down, like you said, a half a step. But I think you had some good choices in there. Stuff.
Thank you.
Like I said, I think 7 or 8 of them are not on my list. Most of them didn't even make my short list, to be honest with you. But I sit there and I'm like, there's no clunkers on that to me. I'm like,
that's good. So there wasn't anything where you're like, why did you pick this one? It might not be on your list, but it's not something where you felt like, man, he's out of his mind with this choice.
Just read them through again really quick for me.
I'll Fight Hell to Hold You, Rain, Mr. Speed, Almost Human, All American Man, I've Had Enough.
Just pause for a moment. So Rain, to me, I don't dislike the song, but there's probably 2 or 3 songs on that album I like better. Master and Slave, In the Mirror, are the 2 of them that come to mind right off the top of my head. Saying that, there's something about Rain that I always did like, for whatever reason, even though it's so not Kiss and it's very grunge. They're 2 totally different songs, and the second one I'm about to mention is a Stanley tune, not a Kiss tune. But Rain and Lift from Paul Stanley's Live to Win album are 2 songs that I say to myself are not in the typical Kiss style, and not that I only like Kiss style music, everybody knows that, but that I'm a little almost uncomfortable listening to Stanley sing those songs, yet I like them, they're good. So when you chose that, I'm like, that's an interesting choice. You didn't go with the obvious, like Master and Slave is a deep cut, right? And it has a Kiss sound to it, but I was when you chose that, I'm like, oh wow, that surprised me. I didn't know you liked that song as much as you do. Very interesting choice. So continue reading over your list.
All American Man, I've Had Enough, Dirty Living, Danger, Odyssey, and Hate.
Right. So I've always known you love Odyssey. I remember one year talking to you, and I was like, if you go on the Kiss cruise and they do one song that you didn't expect, you like Odyssey, and you like barely even thought about it. I'm like, wow, okay, really, really.
Yeah.
And that's another one. Stanley singing that like in a deeper voice. It's very like un-Stanley like, but
that's why I love that song.
Yeah, and I like the album. Yeah, I like the Elder album. There's a couple of songs, you know, Mr. Blackwell and Under the Rose, which I can't stomach. But besides that, I think the rest of the album is good, and that was a good choice. Again, not something that made my radar, but it makes me sit back and say, you know, I might want to listen to that today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good. Okay.
So, all right, I'm going to go to my top 10 list.
Go ahead. I'll give you the floor is yours.
The floor is mine. Thank you. All right. So oddly enough, I also started with an 80s song on my top 10, coming in at number 10. You were saying beforehand that you think this album is not good at all, and I think this album suffers from far too many songs on it. My number 10, King of Hearts. It's a song I just always I liked. I've always felt it lacked some of the production because it does have a demo sound to it, but I just think the song itself is really good. So I went with King of Hearts as number 10. Number 9, I went old school on this one. Peter Criss sung song, an Ace Frehley written song. I went with Getaway as number 9 on my list. I always liked that song. I like Peter's vocals on that song quite a bit. Mm-hmm. So I was happy when Ace did it on the cruise last year, although it wasn't as solid as a performance as I would have hoped so, but I've always been a fan of that song. Number 8 is our first one that crosses over both of our lists, All American Man. So Bob Kulick, here you are again. Mm-hmm. So always, you know, and funny, if I probably would have done this list 15 years ago with the same parameters, that might have been number 1 on my list. But,
really? Interesting.
Yeah, I really used to love that song, especially in the 80s into the early 90s. 2007, Kiss did it for like 2 or 3 shows in concert, and I remember being really excited when they did it. For whatever reason, the last few years, I've kind of backed off of it a little bit in terms of how much I enjoyed the song, but it still had to make the top 10. So that was number 8. Number 7 is a song you're going to say, huh? What? What song is that? So comes off the Monster album, and
I will let you know I did look at the record. I did actually look for a song. I went, okay, that's how it went.
So
actually, I did listen to the one that Eric Singer sang. What's the one called?
All for the Love of Rock and Roll.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's okay. So I knew that would be your reaction when I said I had a song off of Monster. You know I love that album, right? You know that I say it's their best album since Lick It Up, possibly since Rock and Roll Over. Okay, so I love the album, and I hate Sonic Boom, so go figure. Yeah. Okay, so but number 7 is a song called Back to the Stone Age. Right, so it's a Gene Simmons song.
That's where that record should have went.
Disagree. Disagree. Now I'll agree the production on it's not the greatest, right? But I think that the song itself, Back to Stone Age, to me is the best Gene Simmons song certainly since Unholy. And if you take Unholy out of the mix, it's probably the best Gene Simmons song since either I Love It Loud or War Machine, right? It's that good. I love the scream he does in this song. Just an all-around excellent song. Absolutely love it. So that's my number 7. Number 6 is back to the 70s, another Ace Frehley song, Save Your Love. Right, so there's another one he did in 2018 on the cruise. Had never done it live before. I was very excited when he did it. I love that song. I love when Stanley's singing at the end. I'm not going to do the parts, but you know what parts I'm talking about when it's Stanley at the end. I can't think of any other Kiss song that has both Stanley and Frehley singing like that a little bit. So always liked that one. I always felt that was an underrated classic of his. I know he does Hard Times a lot in concert, and I never understood why this one he never did. So that's my number 6. Number 5 is one that, again, we have a little bit of overlap. Oh, no, I don't think we have an overlap. I think this made your other list, right? So number 5 is another Peter Criss song. Very good. Very good. Yeah, so it's Mainline, exactly. Right. It's another song that, we made fun of it in the 80s for whatever reason, that whole chorus, the Mainline. But it's such a good song to me, and it's
it really is. And I looking at my list, I'm like, could I've snugged that in somewhere? But the fact to have it as an honorable mention,
that's right. And maybe if I force you to take Dirty Living off, maybe it'll become your number 10.
Yeah.
Right. So Mainline was my number 5. My number 4 was Room Service, another classic from the 70s that I think is
to have on my
yep.
secondary list.
Yep, yeah. It's funny, as you read through your secondary list, I'm like, okay, good. They're the good songs. They're the good deep cuts. But I'm glad they actually made you a secondary list. Otherwise, it would have been boring if our lists were the same, right? So,
right.
So number 4 is Room Service. You know, I always refer to the cruises because obviously that's where they do the deep cuts. They actually opened up Kiss Cruise 1 with Room Service. And
okay.
That is the one cruise I missed. And that is when I read that online that night. They just opened with Room Service. Like, God damn it, I'm never missing another cruise again. Because I've always loved this song. I know they did it a few times in 75. There's a couple of bootlegs with them doing it in 75. But it was not a staple of that tour at all. So Room Service, number 4. Number 3, we're going back to the Monster album, buddy.
Okay. All right. I'm okay.
You're okay.
Yes.
And
good.
You just referenced it before, the Eric Singer song, All for the Love of Rock and Roll. I absolutely love that song. It is a little bit of a ripoff of the Mr. Speed riff a little bit. You know, and I know you get stuck on the production of the album, but I could listen to the songs and just hear, to me, what a great songs. And I wish Kiss was doing All for the Love of Rock and Roll on their farewell tour. That's how much I love that song. Okay, absolutely love it. Great Eric Singer vocal on that song. I probably, even if I was making a short list of other songs, there could have been 1 or 2 other songs from Monster that would have been on my short list. Wall of Sound, Take Me Down Below. I think they're just great songs. So I love that album. I could listen to that album all day long. So number 3 for me, All for the Love of Rock and Roll. Love that song. That might make my top 30 Kiss songs of all time. That's how much I like that one.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah. So, all righty. Number 2. I think this one is an overlap for us. Speaking of All for the Love of Rock and Roll sounding like a song, well, might as well go to the original then, Mr. Speed, right? So, and if we were doing non-Kiss songs, maybe Bang a Gong would be there too. But so I put Mr. Speed on my list as number 2. It's an absolute classic. I absolutely love that song. I love in 2001 in Japan, Kiss was playing live and doing like these medleys of songs. And one night they actually did do Mr. Speed, like 1 verse or maybe 2 verses and a chorus. I don't remember. And like you even see Ace Frehley seems really excited to be playing the song. I just, damn, I wish they'd put that song in the set list also. Absolutely love this song as well. And then number 1 comes from the Kiss box set. Okay, I think. It is the studio outtake from the Psycho Circus album, It's My Life. I absolutely love. I see the wheels turning here. I'm
just wondering if how this qualified, but okay.
Well, we said box set counted.
Okay.
I don't like this. I don't like this response. All right, so this is maybe my dirty living that we'll have to debate, right? So if you disqualify this, I had a couple of others off to the side, like Rockin' in the USA, okay? But to me, It's My Life on the box set, right? So it's officially released. It's a song, certainly, because it's never performed live. Most fans don't know it. I know a lot of fans love the demo version of the song from Creatures of the Night. I love this version that has Ace Frehley singing lead with Gene Simmons. How they left this off Psycho Circus blows my mind when you have songs like Within, songs like You Wanted the Best, songs like I Finally Found My Way. How the hell do those songs make the album and It's My Life doesn't?
As a side note, it's funny because I Finally Had My Way was briefly on my list, and I know
was it really?
I know that's always a song you hated. I know, and I know the reason why you hated it because you always felt like it was very forced and very like. You know, like I don't know. I think that's what you would use the words you would use with that.
Force, and I don't like when Stanley and Peter Criss are singing together. Those harmonies together just to me. Look, I'm no singer, I'm no musician. It sounds like a train wreck to me. Those harmonies. So
So like I said, it was briefly on my list. You know, but
you sure you weren't doing a top 10 worst songs list? Because it might be on my top 10 worst songs. Wow.
If I had to submit that, I would just say the Monster album. So it would be very easy.
Wow.
Just kidding.
No, that's,
I love the Monster album.
All opinions
and I want to address the Monster record, but should I do that now?
Yeah, go ahead. That's my top 10 list.
Listen, the last time I listened to the Monster record, I did listen to it on vinyl. I said, all right, it's not a bad record. It's not. It just, yes, the production bothers me, but, I could look past that. Mm-hmm. It just, at that point to me, sounded very forced. Like when a band is just trying to reclaim something. That's how I heard that record. Mm-hmm. I just, for whatever reason, couldn't get past it.
Right.
It's not as bad as like what Sonic Boom, where it's like every solo that Tommy did was like trying to copy Ace Frehley. And I was just like, oh my God. But I don't think it's a bad record. I just, just none of those songs would ever crack, my top, 10 to 15 of the deep cuts. Now, to get to your It's My Life choice.
Yes.
So explain again, this is on the box set.
It's on the box set. On the box set, they released, 5, 7, 8 songs, whatever it was, maybe 3 or 4 only, I don't remember. Songs that had never been
released. This is the box set, just for people to know. This is the box set that came as the black, as the guitar case, a little guitar case. And they have it right over there. Right.
Yes. So on there
I honestly didn't remember that song being on that.
Okay. Yes.
And so, that being said, if I would have known that, it probably would have made it into my top 10.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that you liked that song as much also.
Yeah. So I'll just say that as a side note. So, but then again, I think we could keep this in there. I think we could keep it in there. Mm-hmm. We don't have any other judges but you and I. But in some ways, I think it made it an easy top choice for you. That's the only problem I have with this.
Well, I guess then it would have been Mr. Speed, right? Was my number 2, okay. So that would have been my top choice, right? And like you said, I did have a few other songs off to the side. "Rockin' in the USA" was certainly one of them. I think the other songs that I had off to the side, I all disqualified because of the different rules we put in the last 48 hours. But I probably would have had "Rockin' in the USA" then on my list as my number 10 song. So if we decide to disqualify that, right, then "Rockin' in the USA" would be number 10 and "Mr. Speed" would be my number 1. But I'm going to stick with that. We'll see what other comments people have. I knew having 2 songs from Monster was going to be something that, and it's okay that you don't like the album. It's okay.
I'm just thinking. I'm still marinating on that one choice because I think we decided, and people might be thinking this. We disqualified Killers, right?
Yes.
And "Nowhere to Run" would have been on my list for sure.
Right. Same. It was originally my number 2.
Right. So how does the Killers get disqualified, but the box set doesn't?
Okay, disqualified. It's not the number 1 song. Okay, that adds "Rockin' in the USA" onto my list as my number 10 and move everything else up 1 spot.
All right, fair enough.
Okay, I don't want anybody crying. I don't want you to go home today, or you are home, right? And be marinating this in your mind all day. That says,
people, please stay home, please.
Yes, for the love of God, please stay home. Listen to your Kiss albums all day.
Yeah.
So,
or your solo, Vinnie Vincent,
absolutely.
Bruce Kulick, whatever other solo records these other guys did.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I know on my list also, I originally wanted to include because I love the cover. Do you remember Rock and Roll Radio? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And we decided not to go with any songs that were recorded specifically as cover tunes, right? But I absolutely, I've always been a Ramones fan, but I don't love that song recorded by the Ramones. But I just think that Kiss...
It is a great version, the Kiss version.
The Kiss version, I think, is absolutely amazing. So I wanted to include it on mine, but then I said, you know what, like we decided, it's something specifically recorded as a cover song for a tribute album. Let's exclude it. But that was on my short list for a while also.
So I'm going to do you the favor right now, and I'm going to look up "Dirty Livin'" because I want to see if this was officially... Was this released as a single somehow? Even though I know there was a 12-inch.
I think it was.
Let's see.
I know people are probably sitting there watching.
It was a maxi single.
A maxi single. Okay.
And there was an official extended version that was released.
Right.
But if you go to, let's see if we go to Kiss, and we go to Dynasty. It officially lists the singles from Dynasty as "I Was Made for Loving You" and "Sure Knows Something." This is according to Wikipedia.
Right.
So it wasn't a single released for the masses on the airwaves, but they released it as a single that you can buy in the store. So now my feeling is this: you could buy any of the records, the full album, like the same way you could buy a maxi single, but it's not something that was put on the airways. There was no video. There was no promotion for the song. So to me, I could still dance to my Dirty Living.
Yes, you can.
But living.
Living, right? No G.
Here comes the counter. Here comes the counter.
So if I was in Studio 54 in 1979,
Boy.
and they had these dance singles there was only 2 potential songs they could be playing from Kiss. Not that they probably were playing any Kiss, but "I Was Made for Loving You" and "Dirty Living." Where people were there boogieing, having a good time, doing a little dance.
I don't know if we know that. I'm sure it was played in some discotheque somewhere. Again, it's kind of interesting how they released that as a maxi single. Was that released in the United States, though? Because remember, when we originally said this, let me just see that, because that might be also a key to this whole thing. See, Dirty Living. Aha. Well, it looks like that's Dirty Living. And the flip side of Sure Knows Something was released in France. So I don't know. I mean, Dirty Living.
Well, let's put it to you this way. I think my opinion here, Dirty Living on your list is just as valid as It's My Life on my list. I'm just going to say. So I agreed to take mine off, right? Because I don't want any disputes over this, right? But the box set was not meant for the masses, so to speak, right? It's not like I mean, I know some people might say, oh, but it's got a lot of greatest hits on it. But that wasn't, the market wasn't sold as a greatest hits package, right? It was sold to the diehard Kiss fans as a box that, hey, here's a whole bunch of stuff that you haven't received before, including demos, unreleased songs. I can guarantee you ask anybody who's a casual Kiss fan the song "Don't You Hesitate," and they're going to say, huh, what? Oh, I never heard that song before, right? So I still think It's My Life qualifies, but because you don't want it to be too easy for me and because you excluded it, I'm excluding it from mine and replace it with "Rockin' in the USA," which I was always a big fan of in the 70s. I think that's a good Gene song. So that's because I wrote a little runner-up here because I had a feeling, and even though I said to you, we'll include the box set, and you never said no, I said, I think Vincent's going to challenge me on that one. So I said, let me have the song in the hopper over here just in case. So
right.
So that's my list. Good.
But I was going to say, doing my little research here, I don't think that song was ever played at Studio 54 because the other place where that was released was in Germany. Okay. It was in Germany with, I think it said 2,000 Man as the flip side. Okay. So since it was only released in France and Germany as a maxi single, that means there was no store you could go into the United States unless they had it imported, that this would have been played on the airways, for the masses. So if we're talking about U.S. only. I sort of feel guilty because you had to remove one from yours. And
That's okay.
But,
I'm okay with you leaving it there. I really am.
How about we have on yours, we have It's My Life as a 1A. You have a 1A and a 1B.
I've removed it. it. And maybe I'll even just cut it out entirely from the whole video. No, I'm not going to do that. But, I like to hear other people's debate on that also. But I think you make a fair point for Dirty Living. I really do.
So what do you have as your spillage? Do you have a couple extras that you?
Yeah. So it's funny because I had a lot of spillage at first, right? But then little by little, I was disqualifying all of those spillage songs. So I my list originally started off with about 18 songs. But I had on there Take Me, and we said, nope, disqualify that. My original list, I think my top 5 was Coming Home, Tomorrow, Take Me, Let Me Know. All songs we said disqualify. So because I had started my list a little bit before you, as we put the rules in place, my list went from 20 down to like 11 or 12. And I was like, oh, okay, well, now we're doing the top 10. I've still only got 11 or 12 left. I'm good. Right. So it made it a little bit easier for me. I didn't end up with some of the spillage that you did because we tackled that list at different times, right? So my spillage was more so disqualified songs. I had 1,000,000 on my list originally. Early on, I had Wouldn't You Like to Know Me? So those are my spillage songs. All the things that we said exclude.
Did you ever have Exciter on your list?
You know what? I contemplated it, and then I thought about in the Lick It Up tour that they did do that song a number of times. Overseas, they did it almost on a regular basis at the start of the tour. And then I know I went to the first night at Radio City, and I'm fairly certain they did it the second night at Radio City, plus other shows in that tour. So I just, even though I had put it on my list, I ended up taking it off as we started doing our qualifiers because I said, I can't put that on there. I had Turn on the Night on my list, and I realized, no, that's a video. I can't do that. So, they're all songs that I think us Kiss fans clamor for as deep cuts for Kiss to perform. You like that? Clamor.
But
what was that?
For someone who doesn't like fish.
Yeah, that's right. Throwing the clamor.
Clamor.
So I'm just like, I'm looking at my list. I did have King of the Mountain on my list at one point as well. Obviously, that would have qualified. I'm looking to see what else I have here. No, I think that's I had The Oath, but we crossed that off. So no, I think in terms of spillage, those are the only other songs that I had considered. Again, because I started my list a little bit earlier than yours. So
right.
So, but I knew my ones that you would be upset about were the Monster songs.
Yeah.
But hey, that is what it is. That's why we have different lists for different folks.
That's right.
Yeah, so I'll definitely be curious to hear what other people have as their list. Now, I know we had discussed...
Comments below.
Yes, comments below, absolutely. I know at one point we discussed having like a little bonus in this episode of songs that Kiss members wrote but were recorded by other people, right? And I know we were talking about doing maybe like a top 3 list for that. Did you ever give that any thought, or should we save that for a future episode?
I think we'll save that for a future episode. Okay. Maybe we'll make the episode more than just that, you know. But yeah, that's the way. I mean, that's what we're thinking about as kind of adding to this theme.
Yes.
So yes. I think I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research into that. I have a couple off the top of my head, but I'll have to dig deep, and some I probably have to listen to. Be quite honest.
Right.
I mean, I picked it up in the dollar bin actually, of the John Waite album that has the Tears song that Vinnie Vincent wrote, and I listened to it recently. And I know Vinnie had commented, I think when we did our podcast with him about how he was not really happy with what John did for that recording. So I was kind of curious. But I'll have to go back. I know Vinnie wrote a song on the I believe it was on the Bangles album that had Eternal Flame, which was their big hit.
Okay, right.
I remember when I bought that record back then, I looked and I saw V. Cousin. I was like, what? Something that there was no internet back then, but I always looked at it and I was like, is that the same guy, Right. But I want to go back and listen to that too, and I have that record somewhere amongst the almost 3,000 records I have. So
right. Right. So
I'm thinking now. Go ahead. I'm listening.
So we'll save that for a future episode. I think we have a few other ideas as well for some. I'll call it top 3, top 5, top 10. No, very nice. Look at I like how quick you're able to pull it out. I got that. That's impressive.
Hold on, because I'm on right now. Let's see. Am I losing my mind? Did I dream this? Oh, yeah. Oh, actually, it says. I don't know if you can see that. It'll probably be easier to see it on the record. Insert the Jeopardy theme. Here we go. Is it blurry there?
It's blurry. Yeah, I can't see it.
It actually says V. Vincent on it.
Oh, does it really?
It says V. Vincent, and the name is... God, it's like smeared over here. The name of the song is... Make a Plan for Her Now. No, Make a Play for Her Now.
I don't remember that one at all.
Yeah, so...
Well, that's nice. Well, that's exactly why we'll save this then for a future episode, and we'll both do a little bit of research. So I guess just to wrap this up, really quick, just read through your top 10 one last time, and I'll read through mine. I'll take It's My Life off of mine so that there's no arguments. So just one last time, go through your list.
Coming in at number 10. I'll fight hell to hold you. Rain, Mr. Speed, Almost Human, All American Man, I've Had Enough, Dirty Living, Danger, Odyssey, and Hate.
All, I think, excellent choices. So your number one is actually Hate. I think it's a very good song. That'd probably make my short list also, given the new parameters. So, and then my top 10 list, excluding It's My Life, was Rockin' in the USA, King of Hearts, Getaway, All American Man, Back to the Stone Age, Save Your Love, Mainline, Room Service, All for the Love of Rock and Roll, and Mr. Speed. So there you have it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, I don't think I commented on all your songs. The only one I have a little difficulty, I don't think it's a bad song, but the King of Hearts, I think it's an okay song. It's just, you know.
So you like it.
You know. But otherwise, I think, I think you put a good list together. I think you put a good, even the songs that you picked from the Monster record, I think are the best ones of the record. So,
so if you said recently you listened to the Eric Singer song. If you had to listen to All for the Love of Rock and Roll or King of Hearts, which would you choose?
You mean which one do I think is a better song?
Yeah.
All for the Love of Rock and Roll.
Wow. Okay. I never heard you say a single good thing about Monster. There you go. I think I should end it right there.
Well, I did say recently, I did listen to it again on vinyl, and I was like, yeah, it's not a bad record. It wasn't like, oh God, there's a, You Wanted the Best or Boomerang, Boomerang. Anyways, I'm sure there are people who love that song.
Yeah, I'm sure there's one or two. I love to give you a hard time because usually most of the time we agree on things. So there's your top 10 list. Did you have any other comments on my songs? Save Your Love, Mainline, Room Service.
No, because Room Service I had on my list. Right, yeah. Mainline I had on my list. Yeah, no, it was just that one tune. Right. When you said that was the one that kind of surprised me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, there you have it.
I tried. I looked at that record. Just saw that.
I know.
Let's just rewind back to 1989. I specifically remember you and I sitting in my basement. We put on the record. It had just come out. We sat and listened to every song and commented every song. It was like, that's another good one.
Yep.
That's one bad song on this record. We loved that record when it came out. Really, we thought every song. And it's not like Boomerang. It's not like it's like, oh my God, these are horrible songs. They just feel. I feel like they just don't move me at all anymore. It's just, and I guess the debate that goes on about, was it a drum machine? Did Eric Carr play on an electronic drum set? I don't know if we've ever gotten a definitive answer on that.
Nope.
But it certainly sounds like some sort of programmed drum or him playing on an electronic set. But.
Yeah, and look, the rumor is even that Eric Singer's on a couple of the songs there since they were demos, So, but I just looked at it as the songs. But you're right. I remember when that album came out, we loved it, one song after the other. I think "Read My Body" was always a song I wasn't in love with at the time, but otherwise, I thought the album was very solid. I'm actually surprised you didn't put "Bang Bang You" on your list.
Well, you remember with "Bang Bang You," we kept on reading in like Circus Magazine, and. What was the other one that was big back then? Hit Parader, I think. Rip was another one.
Yeah.
Oh, we got the song Bang, and we were like, I can't wait to hear the song. And then we put it on, we're like, okay. Right off the bat, we didn't think it was a good song.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
Another one that probably would be on my shorter list, wouldn't be in contention for the top 10, but maybe top 30. And we discussed this one a little bit prior to this. Is When Your Walls Come Down, I actually think is a very good song from the 80s.
I like that song too.
I hate that damn kitty kitty line, but the song, I even went back and listened to it after we discussed it. I'm like, this song is good. It's just that damn line. You can't forget hearing that line, but that's another one that would have been, I'll say, under consideration with a little bit of a longer list. I know it wouldn't crack my top 10, but that King of the Mountain also is a quality one. But So there's definitely some 80s stuff in there that I would have considered, but I think I went a little heavier on the 70s stuff because that's the stuff I seem to gravitate much more towards.
Right.
So I'll be curious to see other people, what their top 10 lists are. Listen to the parameters we put together. I don't want to see a list that says, my top 10 deep cuts are 1,000,000 to 1, Turn on the Night, Nowhere to Run. I mean, those are the songs we all excluded, right? So try to make it a little bit more challenging the way we did. Give us our feedback on our lists. Let us know if you think Dirty Living should be included. Let us know if you think It's My Life should or should not have been included. I took it off the list for the record, so it's not on my list any longer.
I like how you put that on me.
Exactly. I'm the one that listens to the feedback and takes the critiques and modifies. You're the stubborn one.
Well, we have to have some sort of chemistry here.
That's right.
Controversial, you know what I mean?
That's right. No, but
and even though you threw the F-bomb on during this podcast. Yeah.
That was just my natural reaction to this. So, but no, I look forward to hearing other people's comments. Give us your top 10 list of what you think, and I think that's a wrap for this time, buddy.
Well, I just want to add one more thing.
Go ahead.
Feel free to put in the comments some ideas you may have of topics that that we can discuss, or other types of lists of things. I'm thinking here, me, I'm always thinking, you're always thinking. I got a couple of other ideas that we can talk about. Top 5
Gene Simmons wigs.
That's the one. I love the animalized one with the bandana.
Yes, me too. That's got to be number 1.
That's the best. That's the best.
No, but I like what you're saying. Yeah, let people. Look, we're stuck in the house right now. We've got a lot of time on our hands, so let us know other topics you'd like to hear us talk about. That's a great idea, Vin.
Yeah, great. That's all I have, my friend.
All righty. Well, then, that's it. Until next time, thanks everybody for watching. Hit that subscribe button on my YouTube channel below over there, and head over to my Facebook page, The Rock and Roll Experience with Mike Brunn, where each and every day I talk about all that rock and roll music that you love. And
I like how you said that with gusto.
I had to say it with gusto, not Robert Augusto, Augusto. Nobody has any clue what we're talking about. Anyway,
edit him out.
Yeah, that's it. All right, I think we're losing our minds right now, so let's just wrap this up. And till next time, thanks for watching, everybody. Later. Alrighty, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed that episode. Clearly, I'm going a little stir-crazy being cooped up in the house due to the coronavirus. And I want to take a moment and say that I hope that you, your family, and your friends are all safe during these difficult times. So tell me, what did you think of my number 1 selection? Did it go against the parameters that we put in place? Maybe it did, and I'm open to your honest feedback. Also, I look forward to seeing your top 10 lists of your favorite Kiss deep cuts. Once more, take a moment and hit that subscribe button below on my YouTube channel. Also, head on over to Facebook and follow my page, The Rock and Roll Experience with Mike Brunn, where each and every day we talk about all the rock and roll music that you love. That's it for this episode. Till next time, thanks for watching.